Are you struggling with how to edit videos for YouTube to get more engagement and also to rank your videos higher in the search results? But are you feeling kind of overwhelmed by all of it? Because it can be a lot. Don't worry, I'm going to show you a couple of simple tricks that you can do with your editing that is going to improve your engagement. It's going to help you rank better in the search results. And more importantly, in a little bit, I'm also going to show you how you can simplify and make it so that it's much smoother and easier for you to edit going forward. Hi, I'm Amanda Vandergulik from cleverdough.com. And it was after my coma that I realized that YouTube was the reason my business kept on running on autopilot while I was literally asleep fighting for my life in a coma. With over 7 million views and over 13 years of top Google and YouTube rankings for my videos, I'm dedicated to showing you how you can set up your own evergreen YouTube marketing strategy so you can convert the highest targeted leads for your business on autopilot automatically using my specific YouTube SEO strategies, regardless of what life throws your way. Now, this is part 7 of a 10-part series here on my channel, teaching you everything you need to know to get your videos to rank fast and to stay long-term in the top search results on YouTube, but also on Google for free. In the first half of this series, we learned how to script your videos for longer engagement, how to get your thumbnails and your titles to really stop that scroll and get those clicks from your perfect viewer, and how to optimize your videos so that they will rank in the top search results almost instantly, automatically. And now it's time to focus on how to edit your video to get longer watch times and to help your videos rank even better. Yes, you can do that with your editing too. So let me show you some practical steps that you can do that are super easy to incorporate, that are going to make a huge difference to your editing and save you a ton of time. I'm going to show you how to do these editing hacks in 3 different softwares that I personally use and recommend. First one is Camtasia Studio from TechSmith. The second one is Canva, and the third one is Descript. I love all 3 and I use them for different purposes, and I'll show you during this video why I use which ones for which purposes to help you figure out what's going to work best for you. And I won't show you how to do one thing in all 3 of them over and over and over again, only if I really want to show the difference between them. Otherwise, I'm just going to choose the most appropriate one for that particular tip. If that sounds good, then let's go. So in our last video, we went over how to record your YouTube videos, right? And I mentioned a specific trick to help with your editing later on, which is what we want to use right now. And that trick was to pause between your takes, whether you're memorizing a script or you're just reading from a bullet point and then talking to the camera about that bullet point. You want to deliver your speech and then pause and then look at your thing, figure it out, pause, and then deliver your speech, right? Do you remember that? So we do that because it's going to make the editing so much easier in our software. So let's hop over, and I'm going to show you on Canva, Descript, and on Camtasia how you can see that to make your editing easier. Let's hop over to Camtasia first. So here's a little example I have to show you how we can do that. Now, just for right now, I am going to actually delete this one just so I can show you how there are spaces. So let me make this bigger and I'll move this over. And can you see that in this video's timeline? Let me just move it over again so you can see it. And I'll make these a little bigger just to make it a little easier to see. There are spaces in between the words here. Now, I was pretty good on this particular one and I didn't have a lot of spaces in between, but you can see there are spaces here, spaces there, and that's where I came up with different things I wanted to say. So the way that you can edit out those spaces in Camtasia, let's find one here. Let's find this big one right here. Okay. All right, so let me show you what is being said here and why I want to cut it out so you can see what we're going to do. So let me just play this. White rather than a sharp, harsh light. Okay, so what I've done here, I was actually filming with 2 different cameras, and so I was talking to the webcam like I am right now, and then I turned over and I spoke to another camera over here. Now in my video, I don't want that section, I want it to flow smoothly from this to that shot. So what I would do, it's really nice and simple, is I would just go to the beginning of where I want, and then this red tab, I just pull it out, to where I want it. And then all I have to do is press Control backspace and it merged the two together. So now watch what happens. White rather than a sharp, harsh light. Right now you're not seeing the secondary video because I have a second video for that, which we'll add in a second. But I just wanted to show you how easy it is to shorten up those spaces. And that is going to make your video flow so much smoother. So let me just undo that because I want to use the main screen for another demonstration in a minute. And we're going to pop over to Canva. Okay, so in here in Canva, it's going to work a little differently. It doesn't show you the audio, which makes it more difficult to cut out those empty spaces, which is why I prefer using Camtasia for this particular task. But the way you would do it in Canva is you would find the place where you want to do the speaking. So let me just find here as well. And then as you can, it's further along. I want to see if I can find the same spot here. All right, so soft white rather than a sharp. There, do you see how I had cut it and I switched it over? So the way that you could do that in Canva is you could literally just wherever, we'll just grab a section here, and then you'd press S, it splits the timeline, and then you would drag it to where you want that timeline to be, and then it would cut out that in-between bit. I don't like it as much because you literally have to know where exactly. So I would, for example, play me, and it's shining the white light. Okay, so we'll do that. So I've got, we'll start from here, and it's shining. Do you see how I'm stumbling over the word shining? So let me just go to just before that. It's actually pointed away from me, and it's shining. So I'm going to, right after away from me, it's actually pointed away from me. I would press S to separate, and it's, all right, and then I'm going to just go to the beginning of that again. And it's shining the white. So what I want to do is find the moment when I stumble and stop right after that. And it's shining. Right, so and then I need a little bit of that S sound in front of there. So let's see how that looks if I go over here. Okay. You can see my ring light. It's actually pointed away from me, shining the white light against the white wall. I cut it too much. We didn't even get the shining. But you get the idea that it's not very easy in Canva, unless you know a way, let me know in the comments, to cut out those spaces unless you do make sure you have very long pauses in between to make it more easy to find them. Now let's go to Descript. And there's something really cool about Descript for getting rid of the pauses. So again, it shows you the timeline just like Camtasia did, and you can see the empty spots. So like here is an empty spot, right? So if I go over here and I play, when you look at my, so there's a bit of a pause here. When you look at, right? And actually you can see how it's highlighted here. I'm gonna just undo because it may have already done what I wanted it to do. Okay, in Descript, you can actually ask the software to find the pauses and take them out. And the way we do that is we highlight the whole frame, or you can also edit up here. This is one of the reasons I like using Descript, because you can actually edit right within the text. I'm going to show you some cool things we can do with that in just a moment. All right, so what we're going to do is we've highlighted the area that we want to have those empty spaces removed. We go to this drop down up here, and we click on Quick Actions, and then look down here, remove filler words, which I'll show you in a minute how to do that. Shorten word gaps, that's what we're doing right now. So we would press shorten word gaps. It's going to find word gaps that are 3 seconds or more, and it's going to shorten it to 1 second. And you could adjust that. You could change this to 2 seconds or 10 seconds or more, and you can shorten it to however many seconds you want. I actually like to take my video script, upload it into Descript, remove all the spaces, and then bring it back to Camtasia and then edit it within there. Also, before I bring it back, I also like to remove all the filler words, which I was going to talk about in a second, but I'll talk about it right now because I'll show you how to do that. All right, so we're just going to highlight the whole section here, go up to this, click on Quick Actions, and remove filler words, and it will choose all of the fillers, or you can have it just choose the and so on. You can also upgrade your plan, and then it can take away duplicate words like so and repeated words, but you know, those kind of things, I guess, I mean, like oftentimes we say things that are not necessarily needed for our videos, and it will remove those too when you're on the pro plan. So that's kind of cool. But for what we're doing, removing the ums and the ahs is plenty, and that will already make your video sound more confident, and that's really cool. So now you can remove the filler words in Descript quite easily, even on the lower plan. However, in Camtasia, in order to be able to do that, you need to upgrade to their higher level where they actually work together with their Audiate program. So it is possible, you just have to be at a higher level. And in Canva, I haven't actually found how you can remove filler words. So that's why I really only use Canva for a couple of things, and I mainly use Descript and Camtasia for most of my editing. All right, let's talk about the rule of thirds. Have you ever heard of that? So it's where you divide your screen into thirds, and you divide your screen into thirds this way. And where those connecting pieces are is where you kind of want to have the majority of your visuals, because that just comes across naturally to your viewer. And so in most cases, when you're doing a talking head video like this, you're just going to want to have yourself centered with a little bit of space on top and about up to your chest and a little bit of space on the side. But when you're recording it, you want to record with a bit more so that you can punch in, right? And punch out. Now let me do that not by moving, but let my video editor, which I will talk about in just a little bit, punch in for me. So we're going to punch in, and now we're going to punch out. Do you see what I mean? And what you want to do with the rule of thirds, if you want to put text on your screen while you're talking, you could have text underneath you or above you, but you'd have to shift down for the text above. Usually it's more natural to have the text underneath you and where you're filling most of the space, but you can also move to the side and have the text on either side of you, right? So you want to kind of just balance things out and make it more pleasant for your viewer by having things in balance. Because if I'm just kind of slightly off to the side and talking to you, it's an unnatural feeling. It's like, well, why aren't you just in front of me, right? Okay. Speaking of fonts on your videos, there are a couple of things I want to talk about that are really important. First of all, use a font that is very clear to read. Just like we talked about in our video on creating thumbnails, you want to use a font that is sans serif, which just means it doesn't have the extra little things at the top and the bottom. It's just purely like the letter L is just a line, right? It's not a line with a little thing on the top and a little curl on the bottom. Unless you can make it super clear to read. Really, you just want it basic so that it's easy to read. We don't want any stumbling blocks for our viewer. We want a smooth transition throughout the video. The other thing is I want you to keep in mind how many words you put on the screen, because it needs to be easily readable to your viewer in the time frame that you give them to read it. And generally, as a rule, you want to just have one line with a maximum of 5 to 7 words. All right, it can be less, but a maximum of 5 to 7 words so that it's easy enough for your viewer to read. Make sure it stays on the screen long enough for them to read it. So just literally read it yourself and see how long it takes you to see it, and then take it away. And things that you can do to make your text pop is you can put a little shadow behind it, or you can outline the letters with a darker color so that your text pops off the screen. And that's a really great way to grab attention for specific things. And on that note, you won't want to have text throughout the whole video all the time, because then your viewer is going to get so used to just paying attention to the text that they're not paying attention to you. So you want to use it intentionally for specific things. One caveat would be you could have captions that move across, and I'll show you in a minute how to do that, where it changes the words as it goes so that you're following along with the reader. But even then, I would only use it for specific time periods and for specific purposes rather than the whole video, or yet again, they're just not paying attention to you, they're only following the words, right? Now, this is a really cool tip. Whatever you place on the screen, the AI, the YouTube algorithm, is going to read it, and it's going to categorize that information along with your video for helping it to understand what your video is about and who best to promote it to. So save the captions on your screen for really important things that are going to help with your SEO. You can put your main key phrase in there. You can put any longer tail key phrases in there, or any related key phrases. Make sure it flows naturally, that it's a natural language. But this is a key spot where you can take advantage of feeding the algorithm the information you want it to know, while also at the same time giving your viewer the information they need to make the most out of your video. It's a wonderful juggling act that you can do to take advantage of both engagement and ranking at the same time using your video, the visual. It's pretty cool. All right, so why don't we hop over to Descript and I'll show you how you put your text on there, and I'm going to show you that live transcription, which is so cool, and you can use that specifically for certain areas on your video when you really want to pop attention for your viewer as well as the algorithm. Let's hop over. All right, so here we are back in Descript, and let's just get to the beginning of this video again. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to add text on here. So we've got the option of adding captions, and this is where I said where you can have it come across. So for example, if I put this on, you can put it either on the video or on the text. Both will work. And then you'll see, oh, it didn't work. Of course it didn't. It's like taking your child to the doctor and the child is like, oh, it doesn't hurt. So we'll just use this and put it on the text instead. There we go. And then you can see as I speak, it's showing the text.
All right, let me show you my window. It's over here to my right, and it brings in natural lighting.
Right? So I wouldn't want to have it the whole time. I would just want it for a specific. So I'm going to show you in a second how we can do that. The other option for adding media, so let's just undo that for now and take that away, is you can actually add elements, and we're going to put a title there. And so it brought a title up, and then you can actually write in the title. All right. We'll move this to where we want it. And right now it's not very easy to read, right? So I'm going to make it a little bit larger. Okay, I'm going to space it out because we want to have one line of text. It's a lot easier for your viewer if it's just one line rather than more. And I'm going to center it. I am going to change the color. Let's see. No, I'll leave it in white. And I'm going to change the thickness. I'm going to make it bold. There, that's getting better. And then, let's see here. Okay. In effects, I want to give it a shadow. There we go. Yes. Okay. So can you see that difference? Now it's popping off the screen. If I go back and take it away, it's blending in. It's harder to read. But if I add the shadow, so let me do that again. Click on Effects and then Shadow. It makes the letters pop out so it's easy for your viewer to read. So that's how you would do it manually, and again, keeping in mind to only have 5 to 7 words maximum and one line of text, and to leave it up long enough for the viewer to see it. Now let's go back, and I want to show you that trick I had. Let me just undo this. Okay. All right, so now let's go back and let me show you that trick I was talking about when you're using captions. If you don't want to have the whole video caption, but you only want certain segments that are intentionally captioned. So let's grab that same caption we had and pop it on there. Give it a second for it to populate it. There we go. Okay. Now on the timeline here, you can see this is the video timeline down there, and this little gray one, that's the timeline for the caption. So right now at the very beginning, you can see it's, and if I make this smaller, then you can see the whole timeline. There, let's see here. So it's across the whole length of the video. And what we can do is, let's just go from the beginning again.
All right, let me show you my window. It's over here to my right, and it brings in natural lighting.
Okay, so let's say I want to highlight natural lighting, and I want to highlight when I'm talking about the ring light. So all I have to do is find where I start with that. All right, so I want to say, and it brings in. All right, so we'll get to the in, and it brings there. So I could take this and drag it to that spot there. So now it's not showing.
And it brings in natural lighting.
Right, until I've actually said the words natural lighting. And then I can also press the S, which separates that, and then I can move the captions out of the way. So now it's just going to show that natural lighting.
Brings in natural lighting.
Right, and then the next part.
And then if you look over there, you can see my ring light.
So ring light. So I want to go to where it says ring light.
See my ring light.
And then I want to, let's see, pause it after that.
Ring light.
And then press S to break up the section. You have to click on it, press S. All right, and then I'll get rid of this. And let's see if I got the timing right.
My ring light.
And I'll get rid of the pointed away. We just want the ring light.
My ring light. It's actually pointed.
Oh, and it's showing the word it's a little bit. So it's a little bit finicky with dragging it. There. And then, for example, I would just get rid of the rest. So now my video, if we just watch this short segment here, you can see how it just pops up with the words. If this was about lighting, then these words, natural light, ring light, would be key phrases, plus they would help the viewer realize, oh, we're talking about natural, we're talking about the ring light, the different things. So you're able to help both the algorithm and your viewer by doing this.
And it brings in natural lighting. And then if you look over there, you can see my ring light.
So, and that's how you would do that. And I really love that about Canva, that you can, or sorry, about Descript, that you can use these live transcripts. It gives motion to your videos and it's just more engaging for your viewer, and you get to take advantage of the SEO fact. So I love using that in Descript. All right, the next thing I want to talk about for adding even more engagement to your videos, and it even will help the algorithm understand what your video is about, is using B-roll. So A-roll is that main footage that we're doing right now where I'm just talking to you. That's my A-roll. And any additional film footage that I show you is called B-roll. And you use it intentionally to show, to bring across the point that you're trying to clarify in your video. But the cool thing is, not only is it very engaging for your viewer, but the algorithm is actually going to understand what it is. So in that last bit that I did, if I put a B-roll in about the ring light, maybe I did a studio with ring lights in it or something, it would help the algorithm understand, wow, they're really talking about ring lights in this video. I should show it to people who are wanting to watch videos about ring lights, right? Does that make sense? So let me show you in Camtasia, Descript, and Canva where you can find B-roll and how you can use it. So in Camtasia, for example, I have a B-roll clip here. So I'll pop that on there. Let me just bring it to the front. I'll make it a little bit smaller so you can see. One of the things that you want to do is line up your B-roll. Okay, so first of all, I'm just going to fill this out, scale to fit the whole screen. And if I were to play this right now, you'll hear that the voice is overlapping.
All right, let me show you my window. It's over here to my...
And it brings in natural lighting. And then if you look over there, see how one started much earlier than the other did? The thing I love about Camtasia is that you can see the audio on here. Now, I'm not going to need the audio from the B-roll when I'm finished this video. I'm not going to use it, but it's a great tool to have to help me line up the video because it shows the spikes of my conversation. And if I zoom in a little bit, it makes it a little easier for me to see. And then I can match it up. So see this section here? It matches this section here. So if I move this over to match up, and then I can test it by listening to that. So I'll go to the beginning of there and listen to it.
Reflection back to my face as well.
So you can hear both of them, and it's a little bit off. So I'm just going to zoom in a bit more. And if you bring your browser or your line here to the beginning, I can see that there's a bit of space here. So if I move that over there, that should be better.
Reflection back to my face as well.
Yeah, so even though it's echoey, it's not a delayed echo, it's just two voices. It's more like stereo talking, right? Okay, so I've lined it up. Now, if I zoom out, you can see, okay, so they don't match up. That's easy enough. Now I can just take the end of it and cut it to where that is, and the beginning of this, and bring it to where that is, and now I can move this over to the beginning of the timeline, and now it will match up.
All right, let me show you my window. It's over here.
Right, the voice is matching up, which is great. And so what I'm going to do is remove the audio. I'm going to separate the audio and video from that B-roll because I don't want that audio. I only want the main video. And so by adding the B-roll, I'm going to want to swap between what I'm showing. Right now, you're going to see whatever is on top, which is my B-roll, rather than what was underneath, right? So the way I do that is I just figure out where do I want which part to be seen. So if I have a listen here, I'm just going to move this over to the beginning of me actually talking. If I highlight all of them, I can just get rid of that first section there. All right. And I'm first talking to the camera. See, and then I look over, right? So let's see where I look over and bring it to about there, that halfway mark, something like that. So what I'm going to do is now I'm just going to take that first one, I'm going to shorten it to just that spot. So let's have a look at how that transitions.
All right, let me show you my window. It's over here to my right.
Okay, and then at the end, I want to come back again as well. So let's see that. Let's see. See, and there's a space here that I can delete because there's extra space. So let me just delete that, right, and bring it together. And
soft
so let's
white
have a look.
rather than a sharp, harsh light.
Okay, so let's see.
When
where
you
I
look at
say
my
that.
face again,
So I'm saying when you look at my face again. So I want this section there. And let's just see how far I want it to say it. So
when
I'll
you
just
look at my
listen to
face
it.
again, it's a soft white.
Okay. And so I'll bring it to here. And I'm going to just choose this one. And now I am going to cut this. And that's the end of it. And then the beginning of it, bring that over there. And I'm going to cut this and remove that. So now,
And then as you can see, when you look at my face again, it's a soft white rather than a sharp, harsh light.
right? And I could make it shorter here too, because I'm just looking at this door for a while. So I could just make this shorter. So it's like in between here.
As you can see, when you look at my face again, it's a soft white rather than a sharp, harsh light.
There, and so that's one way that you can use B-roll, and I do this kind of B-roll in Camtasia where I can chop it up a little bit easier than I personally find chopping it up in Canva or Descript. But for adding B-roll from another platform, if you have the pro version of TextMath, or like there's a business version of it, it also includes assets. So then you can use their Camtasia library for B-roll footage of, say, somebody showing off a ring light. But I want to show you how to do that in Canva and in Descript. So in Descript here, it's really easy. And actually, I'm going to save this because it's so cool. I want to save this one for last. So let's pop over to Canva. And if I wanted to add some B-roll footage here, the way to put it on top is a little bit convoluted. So what I need to do is go to where I want to have the B-roll. So let's just say here, we're just going to choose a spot. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to press split right on there. And then I have to go over to elements and I have to scroll down and find frames. All right, so then we want to grab a frame and put it over top of your video. And it's going to create this second timeline. If you don't see it right away, just click on that image and it'll say show timeline. Now it's just saying hide timeline because it's showing it to us. So if you don't see that second level, then just click on that image to show the timeline. And so now we can go over to our elements and we can find, let's see if we can find a video of a ring light, for example. Okay, now I want a video of ring light. So here, we'll use this one. We're gonna paste that in there and I'm just gonna make this fit the whole size of the video. And you can see that it's got crisscrosses on it and it says Canva because it's from their pro level. And I don't use the pro level for Canva because I use Descript and Camtasia. So if you don't want that watermark on there, you just have to upgrade. But there are some free ones as well. You just have to scroll further to find the free ones. It takes a lot more time. And they actually have quite an affordable pro level. So it's worth it if you want to just find your B-roll in there because they've got some really nice B-roll. So now if we look here, it's gonna, watch what happens.
You can see my ring light, it's pointed away from me and it's shining the white light against the white wall.
Right, so now we're gonna go on here again and we're going to show the timing. Here we go. And let's say we want it to end right there. So we're just going to press the S again to split that. Oh, sorry. All right, so we want to just show the timing, right? And then wherever we want that to be, we would just make it smaller, and maybe we want it to start a little bit later. There, now let's watch and see what happens.
Away from me, and it's shining the white light against the white wall, and then you can see over to my left, my door is closed. And
so that's how you would add B-roll in Canva. So there's a little bit of that workaround by putting that frame in there and then filling it. But that's how you would be able to layer in Canva. Now in Descript, and this is my favorite when it comes to B-roll footage, and I use mostly Descript for this because of this, how easy it is. Let's have a look at the script because you can edit right in the script. So over to my right and natural lighting, if you look, you can see my ring light. So we're going to say, you can see my ring light, and we're going to find over here media, and we're going to search in here for ring light. Okay. And then look, it's given us some options. So I'm going to grab this one, and you drag it over right on top of that area that you want. And then it's just importing the video, and it's going to lay it on top of it for us. I love this. It's so cool because you can edit right within the text and find what you're looking for. All right, so now let's have a watch.
you can see my ring light. It's actually pointed away.
There, and so my door is closed, so I could have something here. If I change this to my door is closed and it's painted white. So white painted door closing. It's very specific, but let's see what we find. Ooh, that's kind of interesting. Well, the door is opening. Let's make it a little easier for it. So white door closing. We won't worry about painted. Okay. That one. Let's see. This one. The door is closing. This one. And there are more, so you can see show all. So then you can scroll through and find one that would make the most sense for you. So that one's opening. We want the door closing. And you can upgrade to get more assets as well. But I found a workaround is simply type it in differently, and then you'll get more options as well. So if you see something down here that's in the upgrade, you could go, oh, a washing machine door opening, for example, and then it would find it for you. Let's just use this funny one anyway, just so you can see what it looks like. Okay, so now let's have a look.
The door is closed, and it's also painted white.
And then you can see how the B-roll is longer than I need it to be. So I can actually just, let's see here. I want to shorten it, and I don't want to do that adjusting thing, so I'll just undo that and have it only show there. So I got it so that it would open the door faster. All right, I just wanted to show that to you because it's really easy to find B-roll related to your video on here. And now I've got something really cool to share with you. Did you know you can actually get AI to create video for you? It's so cool. So there are different software platforms out there. You can use Midjourney and ChatGPT, and you can use InVideo and write in a text of what you're looking for, and it will create that video footage for you that you can then add as B-roll to your video. Pretty cool. And that way it can literally be you. You could have a picture of yourself and a scenario that you want and upload that picture to the platform and say, I want this person to be doing this thing in this place, and it will create approximately that scenario for you that you can then use in your video. All right, so I have more tips for you that are going to help make it a lot faster and everything, but I want to first just know, what stumbling blocks have you had specifically when it came to editing your YouTube videos? Like, what has been overwhelming for you? What did you want to learn how to do? Let me know in the comments, and maybe I can help you, or maybe even other people here in our community you guys can help each other as well. Oh, and also let me know, what is your preferred editing software? Maybe I've never heard of it. I know there is an editing software specifically for Apple computers, but I'm not familiar with it, seeing as I'm on a PC. So go ahead and let me know in the comments what your preferred preferred video editing software is. We can help each other out that way. Okay, so now I want to talk about making your video flow, like having the transformations and things that are going to make the video flow better. And so when we talked about cutting out those empty gaps earlier, the problem with cutting out the empty gaps is that you're going to get a very choppy video, because it's going to be talk, 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 right? Because your head will have moved, your mouth will be in a different position, your eyes might be in a different position. And so a really easy workaround, let me show you. Let's go into Camtasia and I'll show you what I do. All right, so let's just choose this section here. And let's say that I chopped out this part. Let me just chop it out. I'll get rid of that. Okay. And so I want this section here to be where it is, but I want the section beyond it, this section here, I want it to be zoomed in, because instead of just keeping the same sentence going with the chops in between, or the same topic going with the chops in between, we're going to, every time we paused, right, for editing, and we chop it, you can zoom in and then talk about the next thing, and then zoom out and talk about the next thing. And it makes for a really simple fix, and it's a really natural way to watch. So let's do just that. So I'm going to separate this whole section. Let me do this, and I'm going to go back to the front of it right there, and I'm going to separate that. So now I've got this section in between that is all on its own. So just this section, I'm actually going to change the dimensions of this video. But what I want to do is I want to get the eyes to be in a similar position. So if I look at this little arrow here, I can see how it's down the arrow here, and it's approximately just above this line and position here. So that'll help me remember. I'll go over here, so it has to be just about that position there. And then this drop down was the center there. So it was something like that. So the eyes are in a similar section. The eyes are a little bit, let's see here, if I go up, that's a little bit better. So then if we watch it,
you can see when you look at my face again, it's a soft.
Now that was pretty cool that it happened to be talking about looking at my face when I popped it in like that. But that's an easy way that you can transition back and forth between the takes where you cut out the spaces without it becoming all choppy and weird. And all of these platforms also let you add special transitions as well. And so for example, let me do this one at the end when this comes on, this B-roll footage. Let's add a transition. And let's do a fade. So we'll pop it on there. And now watch what happens when we go from this footage to the B-roll.
Rather than a sharp.
There, did you see how it faded over it? So it's little things like that can just make the viewing more enjoyable for your viewer. And so you can do those, but honestly, don't overcomplicate it. I'm going to talk about that in just a moment because it's really important. So let me get back to you on that. And just know that there are some really fun things you can do to make your viewing experience even more enjoyable for your viewers, getting you longer watch times, which is the whole purpose, right? Now I want to share something really important when it comes to using your videos for marketing purposes. This is something I learned from Frank Kern, and I want to share it with you because I know it can really help with your call to actions. When you're asking the viewer to do something, and if you're taking them off of the platform, off of YouTube, how to do it in such a way that it's going to resonate in their minds and stay in their minds so they take action. And it's really simple. You put the text on the screen itself. So if I said to you, look, this is part of a 10-part series, and if you want to see the whole series, just go to cleverdough.com/evergreen leads, and I'll put it here on the screen for you, right? So you can see it right there, right? There it is. The reason you're actually putting it on the screen, because I would also then say, or there's a clickable link in the description you can click on, or in the comments, right? And the viewer could go and click on it there, but it's an extra step. And what Frank Kern noticed, because he tested this, is that if you put it on the screen, and you still give it the option to click on it in the description or in the comments, but you make sure it's on the screen, a lot of people, surprisingly more than you would expect, will remember that and actually just go straight to a browser and type it in, cleverdough.com/evergreen leads. Like, they have visually seen it and they'll go and do that. Or maybe they leave your video and they go somewhere else, but because they heard you and they saw it, oh yeah, I wanted to get that series, I better go, and then they'll go to it. So that was really cool when Frank shared that with me. I wanted to make sure that I shared that with you. Also, when you are doing your call to actions, feel free to have fun and use emojis like an arrow pointing down to it. For example, if I was doing a recording about promoting Camtasia, I could put the icon of Camtasia on the screen to show the relevance of what I was talking about, which also, again, tells the algorithm what I'm talking about. So, for example, here's an image of Camtasia, here's the icon for Descript, and here's the one for Canva. Now, I know there have been a lot of tips so far, and I have a few more that are really going to help. I don't want you to feel overwhelmed because every little step will see progress. I want you to remember this line: perfection isn't done. So perfect is not done. If you wait for perfect, it's not done. Okay, so I just wanted to throw that in to remind you that it's okay not to use all of this, but by taking a couple of these things and incorporating them into your video, you are going to retain your viewers longer, getting those longer watch times, and you are going to be helping the algorithm categorize your video properly, which will help your video rank better. Speaking of perfect is not done, these videos that you've watched up until now, especially videos 1, 2 to 4, like 1, 2, 3, and 4, are super pixelated and grainy. And what happened was my cat knocked my webcam on the ground and it ruined the picture quality. And then I didn't process it properly, so they were very pixelated, and I had gotten rid of the original file, so I couldn't make it any better. So I could have redid the whole thing, but it would have taken many, many hours and days to do that. Or I could just trust that you would get the information I was bringing across and not worry so much about the quality of the video, because I know that perfect is not done. On a good note, my webcam, my new one, is arriving later today, so I'm hoping in my next video, or at least the one after that, once I figure out how to set it all up, you'll be able to see a much sharper, cleaner, crisp video. And that's important because I want to talk about something when it comes to processing your video just before you're ready to upload. That's also going to help YouTube promote your video more than other videos. So I'll share that in just a second, but keep that in mind. Now, you don't actually have to be on camera. So if you've done a faceless video, then you can use voiceovers, and you can use an AI generated voiceover, or you can just record over and then line it up on your video as well. So don't feel that you always have to be in it. When you're editing, you can have the opportunity to just put B-roll footage and then put your voiceover right on there, and you can even voice over right while you're editing. So let me hop into Camtasia and I'll show you that. So here we are in Camtasia, and all I'd have to do is click on this record button at the top, and this drop down would show me different options. So I could do video, audio, or images. These are different ones: Snagit, Audiate, and Camtasia. And then I could choose what I want to do. So I could just do the video recording over top of it. So I could literally start it where I want to start it and then record while I'm playing the footage. I have a few notes for you when it comes to adding sound effects and music to your videos. They're great for adding more engagement for your viewers. They do definitely make it more interesting. They're not always needed. And you'll notice in my videos, I'm not using any sound at all, except occasionally when I do just different little animations. And the reason is, again, perfect is not done. So I'm not going to waste time waiting to get this out to you by finding the right music. You only want to use it when you know it's going to make a big difference. Music can be used to change the mood and the emotions of the video. So if you had a video where you're talking about this heavy thing, like when I was in a coma, that's a pretty heavy thing, I could have music that is deep and heavy feeling, and then I can talk about how, but it's okay because YouTube kept my business going while I was in a coma, so I had time to just recover and get better. So I could have lighter music showing how it helped me in the end, you know, that kind of thing. But the tips I want to give you is the sound quality, or the height, the volume of your sound. Your sound effects, they can pop above your voice once in a while, but it's best practice to have your sound equal across the board. Especially if you have different footage, like when I had the B-roll camera, so I was looking over there and talking to my daughter who was holding the camera, and then talking back to you, making sure that if I used the audio clip from that, that the volume matched across so that it wasn't suddenly really quiet, and then really, really loud, right? That it matched. But the other thing is, if I did add music underneath the video, you really want to think underneath the video. It has to be very subtle underneath. Now you can bring it up to show different emphasis, but you never want it to overpower your voice unless you intentionally don't want them to hear you. You have to think about the viewer experience and how easy it is for them to listen to. Audio will kill your video faster than video quality. People don't like listening to bad audio more than they worry about watching a little bit of a pixelation. It's true. And again, make sure you have the copyright for the music, or YouTube can actually just turn down, completely delete your channel. So you don't want to do that. All right, I have 3 more tips for you. One is about editing, one is about marketing, and one is about delegating. Are you ready? The last point I want to tell you about the editing process is make sure the last 20 seconds of your video is intentional, because when you upload it to YouTube, it will allow you to use a card at the end of your video that lasts for 20 seconds. You can make it shorter if you want, but maximum 20 seconds. And it allows you to show the next video that the viewer could watch. So at the end of this video, you'll see me do this, and pay attention, then you can see what I mean. And we're not there yet. And you want to make sure that either you've pushed yourself to the side so you can see it, or that it makes sense. You know, it's an opportunity for you to just take advantage of that card moment at the end of your video. So I just wanted to bring that to your attention, that you pay attention to that when you're editing your video as well. All right, so saving your recordings. We want to optimally record in 4K. HD is okay, but 4K is better. And we want to record, process our videos in 4K as well. And the reason is it's future-proofing our videos, and YouTube notices, and it will actually recommend videos that are 4K over any other format, because it knows it's future-proofing and it has the best user experience. So whenever possible, do that. Now, my caveat, if you don't have that capability, don't worry about it, right? The first videos in this series are not in 4K because of what happened with my webcam. And the last couple hopefully will be in 4K, and then you can see the difference. But don't let it stop you. Just when it's possible, take advantage of it, okay? And now on to delegating. When you get to the stage where you are ready, I want you to hire a video editor. These videos in this series, I have not edited them. I have actually delegated for the first time ever my video editing to someone else, saving me so much time that I could use on writing my scripts, recording my videos, doing all the other work that I need to do in my business to get YouTube to work for me. And it's saved me hours and hours and hours per video to do this, and I really appreciate it. So Sansia Sprott is my video editor. And she's also has one of her ladies on her team, Daniela, who is doing my thumbnails for me. So it's also my first time getting somebody else to do thumbnails for me as well. They've been very patient with me because I'm very specific about what I want. And so that's one of the tips I want to give you is when you are delegating, don't delegate until you know how to do it yourself. You're going to appreciate the cost much better. You're going to understand the time per work that is necessary. Plus, you're going to know what you want, and then you can give much clearer instructions to your editor and to your thumbnail designer so that you're going to get the result that you're wanting without you having to go back and do it all over again. I am so grateful to both Sansia Sprott and Daniela Calvez. And if you're looking for an editor, they're wonderful, and I'll leave a link to them in the description below for you, so you're welcome to go and see if they have any space, but don't steal my space. I need them. So one last note on that, when you do find a video editor or a thumbnail editor, make sure that they're very flexible. They're going to come with their own creative abilities, and they're going to want to showcase what they can do, and that is natural, and you want to allow them to do that. But you also need them to be very flexible and very coachable so that you're going to get the result that you want because it's your video. So it's a nice fine balance. You've got this. All right, remember that secret tip that I told you earlier on how to get your editing done so much faster and so much more efficiently, besides, of course, hiring an editor, right? If you're doing it yourself, I'm going to share that in just a second. But first, I just want to know, have you been finding these tips helpful? Can you please let me know? Just give me a like or give me a thumbs down. Honestly, either is fine. I just want to know if it's actually helpful for you. And that tells the algorithm whether or not to show this video to other people like you. If you didn't like it, it's not going to show it to people like you because you didn't like it. But if you did like it, it's going to show people who are like you because you did like it. And that really helps, and I appreciate that. And it lets me know what kind of content to create for you going forward. And speaking of that, if you're finding all of this series helpful for you, my channel is now focused solely on YouTube marketing, using my YouTube SEO full course strategy to help you get your videos ranked so that you're getting that evergreen lead generation on autopilot for free, right? So if that's interesting to you and you want to learn all these things, then feel free to subscribe to my channel. But when you do, make sure you hit that notification bell and turn on all notifications, because otherwise YouTube doesn't actually let you know when my videos come out. So that's just a tip, and it's a tip for you to use with your videos too. Let your audience know to ring that bell, because otherwise they're just not going to find out, and that'd be kind of sad. All right, so here is the secret. All of these tools have shortcuts, so you can actually do shortcuts. What I showed you when I was doing Camtasia and cutting out those pieces, I could have split it, deleted it, pushed it together, but instead I just pressed Control Backspace, like I highlighted the area, Control Backspace, and boom, it was done, right? Or I used in Descript, I used their actual tool, their function, to remove all the gaps, to take out all the ums and ahs. Like, use those tools that make it so much faster for you. And you can even create templates. Maybe at the end of your videos, you always have a template where you become small and then the next video is over here. So you could create a style that you want to use and use it over and over. And you can use templates for the text, so you're not having to create that every time. Just have a certain style that you like, and then you can pull those into your new videos, and it saves you so much time not having to find the font and do the sizing. So you can do a lot of those things as templates to make it much more efficient. So all you have to do is literally go to YouTube with your preferred software and search what are some of the shortcuts and templates that will make it easier for your editing. I hope that was really helpful. It has saved me so much time over the years by doing that, because honestly, I always did everything from scratch every single time, over and over and over again, until I realized it was possible to use shortcuts and templates. So I hope that helps. So now that you've got a handle on how to edit your videos for YouTube so that you get those longer watch times, right? But also so your videos rank faster, it's time to get ready to publish your video. So we need to know certain things you need to do to upload your video and get it set up correctly before hitting the publish button. That will make sure that your video has a chance to rank right at the top of the search engines. And I'm going to share that with you in just a moment. And it's so simple, you're going to love it. But before I do, just wanted to remind you that this is part of a 10-part series, and it's a free series. You're welcome to sign up for it. I've also got some extra bonus tools and tips and templates and stuff that are part of this whole series. So just go to cleverdough.com/evergreen leads. I'll leave a link in the description and in the comments, but guess what? I'm going to put it on the screen so that you remember it. And you can sign up for free, and then every day you'll receive one of these lessons. You can go faster if you want, but otherwise every single day you just get one lesson so you can absorb the lesson and use it on your own YouTube videos. I hope that's really helpful for you, and I can't wait to see you inside there. All right, now that you know how to edit your videos for YouTube for higher rankings and better engagement, it's time to optimize your publishing process. So hop on over here and I'll go over exactly the steps you need to do when uploading your video to make sure it is set up optimally for YouTube SEO to help the algorithm categorize your video faster and send you the right traffic. I'll see you over here. Why aren't you clicking?